Jabba the President did not celebrate Star Wars today. He's barely focused on the real war he got us into. Trump took another trip to Florida this weekend. He showed up at a PGA Tour event held at his golf resort in Miami. This is what he loves to do.
By the way, I took my cognitive exam as part of my physical exam, and I got the highest mark, and one of the doctors said, "Sir, I've never seen anybody get that kind of, that was the highest mark." I hope you're happy with that, although they haven't been bugging me too much to take a cog.
Somewhere between a late-night comedy segment and a political heavyweight clash, Jimmy Kimmel has made calling out Donald Trump a recurring nightly routine. It no longer feels like simple humor. It feels like a running tally that keeps updating faster than anyone can track. Yet the strange twist is this: just when it seems the jokes have reached their limit, Trump somehow pushes the situation even further. That leaves one lingering question. This isn't about who started it anymore, but about who is quietly shaping the entire narrative behind the scenes.
Move on to emanating. OMG, she is emanating. Maybe next year they can have the Met Gala at the White House ballroom, you know? I don't know what it is with Trump in this ballroom, but he's building it. He's been pushing it bigly since that shooter showed up at the correspondents' dinner.
But he's a lowlife, whether he apologized or not. He's a lowlife. He always has been. He shouldn't be on television. I don't know how a guy can be on television where the network gets free airwaves from the United States government and spend 100% of his time knocking Republicans and conservatives.
Before anything else, hit that like button and subscribe, because missing this story would be a mistake. What makes Jimmy Kimmel's constant commentary on Donald Trump so unusual isn't just the frequency or the sharpness, it's the way each new development seems to twist reality even further. It's almost as if the real situation refuses to stay still, constantly evolving into something stranger than the last punchline, as though real life itself is trying to compete with the joke before it even lands.
Met other white people at country clubs he owns. That's what he was born for. The president was joined by real estate magnate / war negotiator Steve Witkoff and his son Eric Trump, who wasn't invited but tunneled his way in like the gopher from Caddyshack. After the tournament, Trump met with the winner, Cameron Young, to congratulate him on his victory and take possession of his trophy. And when he wasn't romping around the golf course, the president was hard at work on social media.
It all begins in a place that already feels surreal enough. Hollywood on May the 4th, where adults dress up as Wookiees, pose for paid photos, and treat Star Wars quotes like cultural credentials. From there, the discussion shifts into something even more absurd. A massive project that was first said to cost around $200 million, funded by private donors, then suddenly doubled to $400 million under the same claim of private funding. But the story doesn't stop there. Later, political voices push for $1 billion in taxpayer money to support it. Kimmel leans into the contradiction, highlighting how something once framed as distant fantasy somehow collides with real-world budgets and political debate, where even nostalgia comes with a price tag, and iconic characters like Yoda appear redesigned beyond recognition.
Why? Originally, he said it would cost $200 million and would be financed by private donors. Then the price tag doubled to $400 million, which he said would still be paid for by private donors. Then yesterday, Republicans in the Senate pushed a bill that would allocate $1 billion of taxpayer money to go toward this project. Oh, you're against it? I'm shocked. I thought you were all for it.
That contrast becomes the focus as Kimmel jokes about how the Yoda of the past looked worn down by time and battles, while the modern version feels polished, almost like it has a skincare routine and public relations management. Just as the audience settles into that light nostalgia, the tone shifts sharply. The conversation drifts from fictional galaxies into real political terrain. While fans celebrate imaginary wars, Kimmel points out that real-world tensions are handled with far less certainty. Trump, meanwhile, appears in Florida again, turning up in places where his presence feels less like an official appearance and more like an unplanned cameo. Kimmel lingers on this rhythm, the idea that while serious global matters unfold, the public figure in question is often seen moving through a schedule that resembles leisure more than leadership. And from there, the focus naturally turns toward his online behavior.
Just to give you a little peek inside his very strong brain, let's examine one night in Donald Trump's Truth Social feed. Actually, not even one night. Let's look at 1 hour. These are all real posts from our president in the 11 o'clock hour on Friday night. At 11:03, he put up this image of him and members of his cabinet taking a dip in the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. I don't know who the woman in the bikini is or how the AI was able to shave 80 pounds off his gut, but everyone...
But Kimmel doesn't stop there. The discussion deepens as Trump's public claims, especially about cognitive test performance, enter the picture. He describes these moments with confidence, presenting complex explanations for something that's actually quite simple. Kimmel breaks this down by contrasting the dramatic way it's described with the straightforward reality behind it, letting the humor emerge naturally from that gap. The focus then shifts to presentation itself, how Trump speaks, performs, and narrates his own stories in a way that often feels less like formal communication and more like improvisational performance, as if every appearance is part of an ongoing audition rather than a structured political address.
So on Thursday, 3 days before the event, in order to keep that cherished tradition alive, I did my own version of the Correspondents' Dinner on my show. I put on a tuxedo. We pretended we had an audience of luminaries. We used old footage of the Trumps, of Pete Hegseth, J.D. Vance, Kid Rock, Vanilla Ice, all the members of his cabinet. And we made it seem like they were all together in a room. We had a little roast. Again, this was Thursday, and there was no big reaction to it until this morning when I greeted the day facing yet another Twitter vomit.
What follows feels like stepping into a digital whirlwind. Kimmel zooms in on a single hour of Trump's activity on Truth Social, and what emerges is not structured communication, but a chaotic stream of posts. AI-generated images that altered Trump's appearance in unrealistic ways, alongside bizarre political visuals placed in strange contexts that raise more questions than answers. The tone shifts rapidly from one post to another, creating a sense of instability, like switching channels on a television that never settles. Kimmel then widens the lens, pointing out that this isn't occasional, it's consistent behavior. The sheer frequency of posting becomes the real concern, something that would feel alarming in any personal context, turning what might normally be seen as public messaging into something closer to an uncontrolled digital outpouring.
A minute later, at 11:04, he posted this even more unbelievable picture of Melania smiling, which is, I don't know, the last time we saw that. At 11:13, he posted a thinly veiled but definitely racist note about House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, followed 2 minutes later with a warning to Iran that said, "I have all the cards," and holding a bunch of Uno cards, which is a game you win by having no cards.
And yet, from here, the tone becomes more theatrical. Kimmel paints exaggerated scenes of storytelling and performance, turning public moments into almost staged productions where reactions are amplified and delivery is heightened. Beneath the humor, however, the subject turns more serious as policy discussions enter the frame, particularly rising tensions involving Iran. Kimmel references the War Powers Resolution not as a technical explanation, but as a warning mechanism, highlighting how certain limits exist for a reason. The tension builds further when justifications are framed around dismissing precedent when it becomes inconvenient. Kimmel presents this with subtle skepticism, allowing the audience to recognize the contradiction without explicitly being told. Just as things begin to stabilize, the narrative shifts again, this time toward Rudy Giuliani and unexpected developments surrounding his health, adding another unpredictable layer to the unfolding story.
Chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, the money would be used for security features only, not for the ballroom itself. And the White House, of course, disagrees with that. After saying he and his teat sucklers would pay for it personally, Team Trump now wants us to foot the bill, which is now 5 times what he said it would be. $1 billion for a ballroom. What can you say? The man loves to dance, you know? This is not a popular project. Only 28% of Americans supported him illegally knocking the White House down in the middle of the night to build this.
Kimmel also addresses criticism directed at him for making jokes about Giuliani. But instead of responding defensively, he exaggerates the idea to the point of humor, as if he were being accused of predicting events just to create punchlines. The absurdity of that claim becomes part of the joke itself. At the same time, he softens the tone by expressing genuine well wishes, creating a contrast between satire and sincerity. This balance reinforces a broader theme of shared public experience, where even controversy, criticism, and confusion become part of a collective cultural moment that people recognize, react to, and move through together.
He posted his big gold pumpkin head, 1126. Him photoshopped into Mount Rushmore, 1132. We've got him and Melania with their hair blowing, no explanation. 1137 with King Charles, no caption or explanation. Then over the next 8 minutes, he made not one but 3 posts about renovating the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool, and that's 1 hour on a Friday night, the President of the United States. According to the Daily Beast, based on his social media activity, there were only 5 nights last month when the President could have possibly gotten a full night's sleep.
What keeps everything in motion is the cycle itself. Every Trump post, statement, or appearance generates new material. Every response from Kimmel transforms that material into commentary that is both entertaining and revealing. Nothing ever fully settles. The story keeps expanding. Trump is framed almost like a non-stop content generator, producing headlines at a pace that feels relentless. Instead of focusing only on volume, Kimmel draws attention to inconsistency, the shifting tone, the unpredictable rhythm, and the way each message seems to operate under its own internal logic. The humor comes from that tension between certainty and contradiction, a space where clarity never fully forms, but never disappears either.
Found out we'd be paying for it. These are all the times Trump posted that the ballroom would be built using 0 taxpayer dollars. But I don't get it. Why does he need a room to hold balls? He's already holding a lot of balls. He's holding J.D. Vance's balls. He's got Lindsey Graham's balls. He's holding the balls of almost every Republican in Congress. Thank you. So today, Trump signed an executive order to bring back the presidential fitness test. Do you remember that?
The narrative gradually shifts from pure comedy into observation. Kimmel highlights how this behavior extends beyond social media into real-world appearances, where speeches and public remarks follow the same pattern of spontaneity and improvisation. Every event feels unpredictable. Tangents appear suddenly, statements shift direction, and structure often gives way to performance. He presents this as part of a larger pattern where public communication becomes less about precision and more about impact. Repetition and contradiction begin to form a loop where bold claims are followed by equally bold reversals, creating a cycle that sustains attention even when consistency fades.
Average of 18 times a day. If you had a relative who is posting 18 times a day, you'd be worried about him, right? You'd be like, what's going on with cousin Matthew? Is he okay? Now, in fairness, Trump does take nice little naps, mostly during the national security meetings, so he is getting some sleep. And he might even be scouting for a place to live after his reign of terror ends. Trump paid a visit to the Villages retirement community near Orlando on Friday.
This becomes a broader reflection on modern communication, where attention itself has become the most valuable currency. In this environment, consistency often takes a back seat to immediacy, and whoever speaks loudest tends to dominate the conversation, regardless of message stability. Kimmel keeps the tone light, using humor instead of heavy criticism, allowing the audience to recognize the pattern without feeling lectured. The contrast between global seriousness and casual commentary creates an ongoing disconnect where events are treated with urgency while reactions often feel informal. It becomes a continuous storyline with no clear endpoint, driven by repetition and evolving interpretation.
A call to fire me from our First Lady, Melania Trump, saying I should be fired because of a joke I made, again, 5 nights ago. It was a pretend roast. I said, our First Lady Melania is here. Look at her, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow, which obviously was a joke about their age difference and the look of joy we see on her face every time they're taking.
From there, the focus expands to the wider ecosystem surrounding Trump. Commentators, media figures, and online voices who respond, defend, or reinterpret every development. Kimmel presents this as a supporting cast that continuously reshapes the narrative, sometimes adding confusion instead of clarity. Criticism itself becomes part of the cycle, often exaggerated or reframed in ways that generate further discussion. The humor here is awareness of that dynamic, where reactions become material for more commentary, creating layers of interpretation. This structure allows the audience to engage not only with the subject itself, but also with the surrounding noise that grows around it.
2 of his top TV doctors, Phil and Oz.
We have a man here who knows more about Medicaid, Medicare, medical crap than any human being. Where's Dr. Oz? Where the hell are you, stand up? He's great. It's the most boring trip I've ever made. He's telling me about Medicare, Medicaid.
Like I give a meta about any of those things. Any term of the word care. It was a very light roast joke about the fact that he's almost 80 and she's younger than I am. It was not by any stretch of the definition a call to assassination, and they know that. I've been very vocal for many years speaking out against gun violence in particular, but I understand that the First Lady had a stressful experience over the weekend, and probably every weekend is pretty stressful in that house. And also, I agree that hateful and violent rhetoric is something we should reject. I do, and I think a great place to start to dial that back would be to have a conversation with your husband about it.
As the story approaches its conclusion, Kimmel shifts toward a broader reflection on how audiences experience all of this. For the average viewer, the constant stream of updates, ranging from serious political developments to surreal online posts, creates a blurred line between news and entertainment. The result feels like accidental storytelling, where reality unfolds in a way that almost resembles scripted drama. The humor carries a sharper edge here, pointing to a world where absurdity doesn't fade, but instead becomes routine. Each new post, appearance, or statement adds another layer to an ongoing cycle, and Kimmel continues to piece it together in a way that keeps the audience engaged, questioning, and waiting for whatever comes next, even when it feels strangely predictable.